Well, guys, they've done it. They have finally done it. Volleyball World has done something completely terrible. And honestly, I don't know if I can support volleyball anymore. I don't know if I can spend my time watching volleyball anymore after what Volleyball World has done. It has come to the attention of the volleyball world, not volleyball world, but of the volleyball world. There will no longer be a dream team at the 2026 VNL. I know. It is what we all watch. That's what I keep on seeing on comment after comment is that now, because there is no longer a dream team at the 2026 VNL, there's no point in watching anymore. And instead of having a dream team, now we will be awarding the awards to the players with the best stats. That's right. Instead of having a dream team with the top positions picked arbitrarily by random executives, we will now be going off of a stats-based approach where the best scorer, the best attacker, the best blocker, the best server, the best setter, the best digger, and the best receiver will all receive their rewards at the end of the intercontinental round. No longer are we going to be awarding the players who just show up for the finals. Now we are going to be awarding it to all of the best players throughout the 3 weeks of the VNL. I know, the humanity. How preposterous is this? And I mean, this is exactly what we're seeing across social media. Now, this is the post that made me learn about this despicable move by Volleyball World, and it looks like a bunch of people are in agreement. They should just cancel the tournament altogether then. Cancel it altogether. Now, if you gradually strip away the fun aspects of volleyball, people will eventually start saying, why am I even watching this? The dream team is quite interesting. Why should they participate then? Why? Why are we participating if it's not for the dream team? I don't know myself. But actually, guys, this is honestly one of the most ridiculous rhetorics I've seen online in a long time surrounding volleyball. If you didn't understand, that was satire, and I actually like this move by Volleyball World. This is something that I can really support. The dream team was always an arbitrary team based off just the top 4 teams in the tournament. So it didn't matter that you only showed up for the finals. If you were one of the best players on the team, you usually got it. And it didn't even matter how well you actually played in that tournament. Oftentimes, these decisions were political decisions. The dream team was always made up with 4 players from the first place team. There was going to be 2 players from the second place team. And then sometimes it was 2 players from the third, and other times it was 1 player from the third and 1 player from the fourth. But regardless, all of these players were selected by executives. And it wasn't necessarily the most fair way to represent a dream team. And we've seen some pretty wild decisions over the years, right? If you're a member of the Volleyball Source Discord, you know that we've always clowned on the dream team because it very, very, very rarely actually represents the best players at any given position. So why are we out here complaining and acting like this isn't a good thing? We're going back to the way it was back in the World League. Back in the Grand Prix, these awards were always determined by the top stats getters. And this is normal across sport as well, too. If you're a fan of the FIFA World Cup, that Golden Boot Award is given to the player with the most goals. That's how things work. So I don't understand why there's so many people in comment sections getting upset about this. Come on, don't be ridiculous. You've really removed all of the fun and entertaining aspects of this game. Because that's right, we come and watch volleyball just for the dream team. Everything that leads up to it, none of that matters. None of that matters, and we only watch for the dream team. So let's be real here for a second, guys. Come on. Now, I actually like this decision. Right? Over the years, we've seen kind of the same players be nominated for the dream teams. We've seen the same players in the top 4 of the tournament, and it's always going to be the same players. Oftentimes, we see kind of random things going on. So this is something that I am completely okay with. Completely okay with. Let's reward the players who go and grind in the VNL week in and week out. VNL is an absolute grind. And it's going to show us a little bit more than just the best players from the best teams time and time again. Because we often get into a situation where it doesn't matter who the best player for Japan was. We know that Ishikawa would be in the dream team. Right? It didn't matter if he was going to be the best player or not. We knew Ishikawa was going to be there. And it's the same thing on the women's side too, right? It didn't matter what happened, we knew that Gabi would probably be there because she's one of the best players in the world. Now, Gabi and Ishikawa are both players that usually deserve it, but still, let's put players there up on merit. And this is going to allow us to see that volleyball is a lot bigger than just the few top players on a few of the top teams. I really have no problem with this whatsoever. I think this is a good move by Volleyball World to get rid of the arbitrary dream team where it has to go to the specific breakdown of players on certain teams, and then it's decided by executives and not by the actual play on the court the majority of the time. And just to make it clear, the dream team, and it's going to be the same for the awards, you did receive an award. It was $10,000 per spot. It doesn't matter if you're best outside, best opposite, best setter, it doesn't matter. It would be $10,000 and it'll be the exact same thing for the individual awards as well. Now, the MVP is a $30,000 award, but I'll talk about the MVP in a second. And that's always the way it's been. All right. So just for the fun of it, we're going to look to see who would have won the awards in 2025. On the men's side, the best scorer would have gone to Marlon Yant of Cuba, as would have been the best attacker, also Marlon Yant of Cuba. The best blocker would have gone to Yuri Semenyuk of Ukraine. The best server would have gone to Efe Mandaracha of Turkey. The best setter would have gone to Fernando Kraling or Cachopa of Brazil. The best digger would have gone to Mikey of Brazil. And the best receiver would have gone to Tom Coops of the Netherlands. On the women's side, the best scorer would have gone to Wu Mingjae of China. Same thing with the best attacker, Wu Mingjae of China. Julia Kudis of Brazil would have been named best blocker. The best server award would have gone to Iman Ndiaye of France. The best setter award would have gone to Nanami Seki of Japan. The best digger award would have gone to Juliette Gillin of France. And now finally, the best receiver award would have gone to Mayu Ishikawa of Japan. Obviously, there's going to be a few areas amongst this where I do have some question. As we've seen, the best scorer and the best attacker are generally going to be the same person, which kind of sucks, but it kind of is what it is, right? You're going to be scoring the most points in attack. That's just the way it is. And good for you. You're going to be getting $20,000. Now, the other question is are we going to be running this off of a bulk basis, just total points, or will it be on a per set basis? Because if we take the top scorer from last year's VNL on the men's side, Marlon Yant scored 257 points, whereas Théophile of France scored 241. But Marlon Yant only averaged 4.43 points per set, whereas Théophile actually averaged more and led the VNL with 4.63 points per set. Now, typically when I'm doing a comparison, I want to see points per set. That's actually what matters to me over the bulk of a tournament or the bulk of a season. But I'm pretty sure Volleyball World is going to go off of just the bulk points. And for me, it's actually because they want to try to encourage all of the top players to play as much as possible in the intercontinental round, right? We see a lot of the top players miss a week or two or miss the entire intercontinental round altogether. If you ask me, instead of this, maybe we should raise the prize money a little bit, because as the legendary Serbian opposite commented here on this Volley Trails post, this is the exact same prize money they were giving 20 years ago in the World League and in the Grand Prix, which is crazy to think of because the VNL is such a bigger product with more teams and just a bigger scale altogether than the Grand Prix were and the World League were 20 years ago, back in 2006. My other question is, how are we actually going to determine the best receivers and the best setters? Because if we look at the best receivers numbers, if we're going off of the Nations League, or if we're going off of the VNL website, if we're looking on the women's side, Ishikawa led the VNL in passing last year with 121 successful passes. Now, honestly, I have no idea what that actually means, what they consider successful. Is it a positive pass or is it a perfect pass? I don't really know, especially since if we go over to the Volley Station stats and we look at the best receivers, they're doing it off of percentage. And if you go off the Volley Station stats, Monica De Gennaro was the best receiver of the VNL last year with a 69% positive reception. So that one is a lot clearer of what you're doing. And Ishikawa was actually fourth with 64 positive receptions. So that one we may have to figure out. Whereas I mean, the best setter award and the best setter stats has always been a question mark for absolutely everyone. Seki was technically the top setter last year, but what does 460 successful sets actually mean? Does it mean her team got 460 kills over the course of the continental round when she was setting? Before, there was a stat called running sets, and running sets essentially meant you got a one-on-one, but what does that mean? It's pretty arbitrary. So that one might be a little interesting. But overall, I think this is a good thing, right? The stats are there for a reason. I know Europeans hate stats, right? They refuse to look at the stats and think that means anything. That's why volleyball stats are absolutely terrible, but they actually mean quite a bit. And volleyball is a very, very stat-based game. I saw some people online complaining that, these awards are just going to go to the players who aren't team players. And this is volleyball. This isn't soccer or basketball where you can be a ball hog and score all the points yourself. You still need someone to pass the ball, to set you the ball. If you're getting set a lot, that means the team is setting you up more times as possible. And it's that team's decision, whether it's the coach or the setters. It's not really that it's not a team game altogether. It's volleyball. It is the most inherent team game of all sports. Now, the MVP award is changing a slight bit as well. As always, the MVP will be selected from one of the participating players from the two teams in the gold medal match, so either the first or second place. That's always been the case. But now it is going to be a combined voting process between fans and designated volleyball experts. And first and foremost, I'm going to talk on the designated volleyball experts because I have been a part of those conversations at time. I've helped determine, Volleyball World top 10 awards at the end of the season. And if they're going based off of the way they determine those awards, I actually really respect and trust those volleyball experts to make the best decisions possible. In my experience, the volleyball experts that they're going to use are A, the commentators for the VNL, and then B, the Volleyball World social media team. The commentators for the VNL are some of the best commentators we have, right? It's like Key Michael, Emily Amon, Anne-Marie Anderson. Those are all people who know volleyball really, really well. And in general, the commentators who are there, even the ones that I don't necessarily like for the way they call the games, they actually are there enough and watch enough to actually know who the best players are and aren't. So if it's based off of those volleyball experts, I trust them. And then the second half of that is going to be the Volleyball World social media team. And let me tell you, these are some of the biggest volleyball fans in the world. These are people who really know the game and watch more volleyball than 99.9% of fans. These are true volleyball people who are some of the hardest working people in volleyball and watch all of the VNL, right? And if it's the Volleyball World social media team, they are plugged in day and night for like 2 months straight for the entirety of the VNL. So these are people who are scattered around the world. They're represented in different areas, in different countries, who know the game inside and out. And even if there is a little bit of bias, because there is inherently going to be a little bit of bias, it balances out because, there's some in Brazil, there's some in Italy, there's some in Japan. It's all spread out all together. And once again, these are some of the hardest working people in volleyball. I can tell you that for a fact, and they know what's up. I'm really confident the volleyball experts are going to be able to go out there and make the best decision possible. Now, the other half of this is the fans, and I fully understand where this skepticism comes from. The majority of fans just really watch their own team and don't watch anything past their own team. But the other half of this is it's just between the two teams in the finals. So you can point out that there's certain fan bases out there who are maybe a little bit more involved and a little bit more biased. But unless their team is in the final, it's really not going to matter all that much. And then past that, if you're coupling it with having the experts choose, that's probably going to balance it out. And at the end of the day, if the fans vote for something ridiculous, right? Like maybe they vote for Ishikawa, even though he didn't play in the game because he was injured or maybe wasn't great and got subbed out, the experts are going to be able to make that decision. And ultimately, no one knows what the fan voting is going to be, and they're just going to go with what the experts picked. I also find it pretty funny that this original post is from Gibi Bares, who, by the way, is a great volleyball person on Twitter, so definitely give them a follow. But this is a Turkish account, and the majority of their followers are Turkish, and you have Turkish people out there complaining that other fan bases are going to flood the voting. And I'm sorry, but You guys have to turn and look. Like, you guys are some of the best fans out there. You're really passionate. But let's be honest, the people who are going to flood for voting are the Japanese fans, the Brazilian fans, and the Turkish fans. So it's a little bit funny to see them blaming the Italians and other people for this type of decision. And ultimately, once again, I actually kind of like this move from Volleyball World. It's a way to engage fans, to make them feel like they are a part of the process of determining the MVP. And at the end of the day, once again, no one is going to know how many ballots were actually cast for each player. So Volleyball World can actually follow the fan vote or completely disregard it altogether. So I think it's honestly a win-win for them. And also, for the record, when you look at the competition regulations, there's nothing saying that they're actually going to eliminate the dream team altogether. It's just not where the prize money will be allotted. Because once again, I think that the prize money should be determined based off of your play on the court. And the only way to fully actually know that is based off the stats. So it doesn't mean the dream team is going to be deleted altogether. It just means the money is going to be going to the best players in each category. If you ask me, I think it'd be a really good idea for Volleyball World to actually keep the dream teams, but maybe spice it up a little bit. I would have a first and second dream teams at the end of the continental round. Pick a first team of 7 players and then a second team of 7 players. So overall, you take like 4 outside hitters, 4 middle blockers, 2 setters, 2 liberos, and 2 opposites per gender. You don't necessarily need to give them any money. It'd be nice if you did, but obviously they won't be because it's not in the competition regulations. But just a way to acknowledge some of the best performances. And then at the end of the finals, you make a traditional dream team with just using the top 4 teams, just one dream team. It doesn't matter how you break it down, but just 2 outsides, 2 middle blockers, a setter, a libero, and an opposite. I think it would be Volleyball World's best interest to do that. It helps them create a little bit of content. It helps them create a little bit of buzz, and it keeps the fans happy. But if it's really that important for you to have a dream team, come join us over on the Volleyball Source Discord, because we do this kind of stuff all the time. We have votes across the Discord at the end of the intercontinental round, naming the first and second team all-stars or dream teams. And then we do it once again at the end of the playoffs as well. So if you're looking for a place to come name your dream team, come join us on the best online volleyball community in the world.